Hi, I'm Eric Haugen. Fingerstyle guitar doesn't have to be complicated. In Guitar Zen Fingerstyle, we'll strip things down to the essentials and focus on the techniques that can change the way you think about the instrument. We'll cover Travis picking, develop thumb and finger independence, hybrid picking, and explore techniques borrowed from other instruments like Banjo frailing. We'll also dig into some Chet Atkins style playing for even more style and nuance. Each lesson set comes with a performance etude so you can hear it in action and learn how to integrate it into your own playing. I really think that we can add so much depth to our rhythm playing by expanding into finger picking techniques. So if you're a songwriter, the second guitar player in a band, or collaborate with other musicians, this course will be extremely helpful for you. Grab your guitar, let's roll.
Cool.
Hey.
Welcome everybody to another edition of TrueFire Live. We have a wonderful, wonderful stream for you tonight where we have brought on the amazing Eric Haugen, and he's going to be here in celebration of his latest and greatest course, Guitar Zen Fingerstyle. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. Please let us know where you are chiming in from in the chat, which state, country, universe, galaxy, and just let us know. That way we know where to shout you out from here live on the stream. Also, if you have any questions for Eric, please feel free to share it within the chat, and we will get to it so that way you can have all of your questions answered. Life lessons, Eric knows them all. It's not just about music. He is one of the smartest people whom I've ever met. That being said, it is time for me to pass it over to the wonderful and incomparable Jeff Sheets. Jeff, how are you?
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say the smartest person you know, except for this next guy that you're going to introduce. But thank you for leaving me hanging on that one, Shane. But thank you, Shane. Guys, welcome aboard to another TrueFire Live. I am Jeff Sheets. I'm coming a little beat up, you know. You may notice that I'm not my normal good-looking self. I had some surgery on my nose. Fortunately, I don't get paid for my good looks, so I'm able to just scrape by strumming some guitar chords with a Band-Aid on my nose. So anyway, sorry about that. You'll have to deal with it. The good news is we have the exceptionally good-looking Eric Haugen here tonight, and we're going to talk about his course. But as Shane said, if you've got questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to those. But we really want to just talk about the course. Really cool new course. And we're going to talk about that, do a little bit of playing, answer some questions. And looks like, man, we've got people from all over the place. It's awesome. From New Jersey to Cincinnati to Tulsa, Ohio, Canada. Y'all are tuning in from everywhere. Very cool to have everybody here. So without further ado, let's bring Eric on. Eric.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for being here. It always makes it exciting when we got a lot of people on a live stream. You know, nothing. It's kind of like playing a show and there's a good crowd coming in. So thanks for being here. Thanks for, I guess if you're here, you probably know my videos or my courses. So yeah, thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for buying my other courses. And we got a new one. The Fingerstyle one, the idea is that, it's going to cover, Travis style finger picking, the usual, which is, you got to start somewhere. Like it definitely starts with the usual, oh wait, I can't fit on screen, kind of, those things. But then we go into independence, and then we kind of do, let me just put that down. It's kind of a buffet of various useful fingerstyle approaches, like Mark Knopfler stuff, Chet Atkins stuff, hybrid picking, Banjo frailing, just basically, I just find as somebody who does a lot of rhythm work, that the more we think about different ways to use a pick, fingers, thumb pick, etc., that to me is so much more valuable than, lots of notes, lots of arpeggios over here for me personally and the kind of music that I play. And so that's what the course deals with. Feel free to fire away with questions. In fact, we have some clips we can pull up. So the first one we're going to pull up, and I'm not going to even take credit for this exercise. I saw this exercise first. Bruce Emery, he has some great books where he talks about how to develop thumb finger independence. And so that's really one of the I took his idea and then kind of did it my way. But yeah, let's pull up that first clip that's a little bit about, one of the hardest things, we learn patterns. And then it's like, okay, well, I can lock into a pattern, and that's cool enough, honestly. Patterns are super cool. But then how do I maybe get outside of that? So this is a very simple little exercise that can help kind of separate this guy from this guy over here. And I'll have Jeff play that one, or I think Shane has it queued.
Let's just get our thumb going back and forth on those two. And first, let's just we're going to play like 4 melody notes. That's all. So first, let's do whole notes with this index finger while we do that. Okay, what about half notes, which are 2 beats long? Those are all with the thumb. Good exercise. What if I did quarter notes? So that means with every thumb is going to be a melody note. And let's let it breathe after we do that. In fact, let me pull the tempo back.
You see, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. But yeah, that was a long one with the thumb. You could do them in between each thumb. And that's just that chord. Obviously, the lesson proper is going to go through other chords. But yeah, that alone, if you, after this stream ends tonight, I'm telling you, just grab a G chord and be like, Starts to feel a little bit, what's that Cat Stevens song? Cat Stevens, On the Road to Find Out. I love Cat Stevens. But that is like, the first part. Now, slap, I don't, Roland is asking if I do like the modern style, like Tommy Emmanuel slap. Tommy Emmanuel, of course, has lessons on TrueFire, I'm sure there's other people who do the more modern slap thing. The closest I get to slap, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, is I do this thing where I use the nails, which I guess is kind of a slap. Yeah, I guess that's a slap, but I know that's not that thing. That is a realm I don't really know much about, and so I'll leave that to the people who know more about that. That slap that I do comes more from Ry Cooter and Mark Knopfler, the 2 players I think about when I think about, and Lindsey Buckingham, folks who use their nails as well as the pads and the thumb. Again, the more things we can do to get the notes to happen, the more sounds we can get. Jeff's popping in to say something here.
Absolutely. No, it's good stuff, man. I think one of the things that's kind of cool about this course is it looks at fingerstyle sort of holistically, right? Is a lot of different ways to play fingerstyle. Sometimes people think about fingerstyle guitar in one way, but you really show some different stuff. You show different ways to approach fingerstyle and even hybrid picking. So using your fingers with the pick, doing different things, kind of how you approach it. So that to me, I think is one of the coolest things about this course. And just as a shout out here, if anybody wants to pick up this course, any of Eric's courses, go to the links below the video there in the YouTube description. Links below the video, click on those and buy the course. If you click on those links, actually Eric gets more money. So click on those, and he will appreciate that, and keep him happy and paying his rent. So do that for us. But you should. I mean, all of his courses are amazing, as you guys know. But this one I think is really cool because it's a little bit of a different approach to fingerstyle, and it really breaks things down, in a way that's easy to understand. So maybe talk a little bit about that, Eric. How you look at fingerstyle as a little bit bigger, a bigger subject.
Sure. And I see some good questions coming in also. Again, I think the thing I'm trying to share is to create a solid foundation of the various ways to do fingerstyle guitar, so that it's like, I don't know, I think I know what it's like. I mean, I see the fingerstyle virtuosos on YouTube the same as everybody else. Who's that guy? I love him so much. He has the really pretty dog that just sits on his lap, and he plays really perfect, like amazingly perfect classical arrangements of pop tunes. I think he's called Acoustic Trench. But like, that is so far from easy that I know, and then, I've taught many folks, I know what it's like to be like, dude, I don't know. I got to pick, and that's what I know. And anytime I try to use my fingers, it doesn't go great. It's really frustrating. So my whole mission in the way I teach and the way I do a lot of things is like, what's the easiest way? Like, what's the simplest way to do this? Let's reduce it down to the elements and like build things up from there. Let me see if we got a couple of questions I would want to address. Frank Humphreys is saying, I need to make peace with the thumb pick. You don't need to, man. You don't need to. I mentioned this in the course. I picked up a thumb pick because George Harrison mentioned Chet Atkins, and then I got Chet Atkins picks on the Beatles, and I was like, oh, okay, Chet Atkins does things with a thumb pick. So that's why I did that. You can just as easily do this stuff without a thumb pick. The only difference is you get, the thumb without a thumb pick is just a little bit quieter, but tons of people finger pick with no thumb pick. So I would not fret about that. I wouldn't feel the need to, because it is true that like it's hard to find a thumb pick that fits right. And then the distance, from your thumb to the string is always different. So yeah, that kind of can mess people up for sure. Let me see. Was there any other question I want to hop on? And by the way, it makes me so happy to know that my courses help people. It's really my mission in life. And so thank you for thanking me. It makes me really happy to know that like what I do helps people, because it's weird to make videos. You're just talking to a camera and you're hoping that you did a good job. So it's nice to get the feedback that like, no, man, I really get a lot out of this stuff. So that makes me really happy to see that all these people are like, yeah, these courses help me. Someone is saying D-Day 64, saying, Eric, I'm pretty okay at banjo. How similar to this style would this style be to traditional banjo playing, which I think is a good segue into, if we can pull up again my little adaptation of clawhammer banjo frailing, which again is sort of Mark Knopfler-y, sort of Ry Cooder-y. If Shane has that clip pulled up, we can maybe roll that one.
My hand is moving. And that's a big deal for fingerstyle in general. If we have a habit of the hand moving too much, that's going to cause problems. But that's why we started with kind of Travis picking, because that gets that discipline about kind of keeping these fingers close. Now I could mute that low E string. I like that too. And then a common thing you can do when you're finger picking, and we talked about this in the Travis section, is instead of going to a full C, you leave the G and the bass there and just put these parts down of the C chord. Unmuted.
So that seems like a no-brainer, right? Okay, like Eric, all you're doing, all these clips I'm pulling up, I'm playing a G. Well, you know me, I'm always just going to take it simple. I have a cape on this one because I have this guitar tuned down. This is Elsie. This is a guitar that my brother's wife's grandfather made for his wife, Elsie, in the 60s. It was sitting around in closets around Nashville, Tennessee, and I had to get the bridge repaired. But yeah, now I have Elsie. But Elsie honestly is kind of stiff and hard to play, so I have her tuned down a step. So that's why I have a capo on, even though I'm playing G. But yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. Like that's not different. But that is very different than. That's one sound. A pick is another sound. And this is a hop, skip, and a jump away from, again, I keep mentioning Mark Knopfler. I guess I've been watching a lot of videos studying his right-handed. Like he has this whole thing where it's like a thumb, a flick. It's on an extras. That's like, yeah. Wait, what key am I in? Can I do Sultans of Swing in this key with the capo? Where's it go? Anyway. It's hard to find that one with the capo. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about right hand technique. Let's see if anybody else has. Oh, Brian has a question. Do you recommend growing your nails out in your right hand for fingerstyle? I keep them a little bit longer. You don't actually have to. I got to talk to the great Tommy Emmanuel last week, and I have the clip saved. I have to edit it together and put it out on my channel. But also, Tommy's on TrueFire too. Tommy is absolutely, one of the legends of fingerstyle acoustic guitar. He has no nails. For him, it's all callus and pads. So it's not necessary. It's more common to use your nails, but if Tommy Emmanuel can do it, well, clearly it works. The only problem is, if you have no nails, you do and no callus, you're going to get like a pretty soft, it's going to be a pretty soft attack. But, everything's different. There's no good or bad with music. It's just different. So I wouldn't really, I'd start, if that's keeping you from doing more fingerstyle, then don't worry about it. It's like, who cares, man? It doesn't matter. I know we can't curse on these. I'm just thinking, I have one of my best friends is an old hippie jazz drummer, surfer dude, Frank. And I've mentioned him in videos before, but yeah, Frank's wisdom and attitude comes through in a lot of what I do. And if I'm stressed out or like worrying about something, like, what would Frank say? Oh man, F it, dude. Who cares? So Frank hates social media and doesn't want to be a public figure. So it's just secondhand, but I wish I could get him record some of the things that he says, but he's like, no, man, I don't do that stuff. Let's see. We don't have any other questions. So let's just pull up then one more clip. Let's talk about the essential hybrid picking idea, because that's another avenue into finger picking. Is like, okay, I have a pick. I know hybrid picking is a thing, like chicken picking, hybrid picking, but where do I go in? I guess that's always my concern. It's like, what's the entryway that gets you the necessary skills to keep going? That's like very accessible. And so, let's pull up the essential hybrid picking thing.
This bar chord shape, forevermore, for the rest of your life, whenever you play this bar chord shape. And you can see they come alive a little bit more when we separate them. So as opposed to just going, hit them one at a time. But let's take a real close look at the right hand to see what's happening. Yeah, so the pick is working like the pick always has worked. The thing that makes it hybrid is, of course, my favorite finger, the middle finger, is popping out there to get that higher tone. And yeah, that gets us closer and closer to chicken picking as well. And that's different than if you went, you could use the pick for both, but you don't get the same snap.
Yeah, I mean, that is like such a, again, it seems like a nothing. It seems probably pretty obvious. But that is definitely a great way. Let me see if you can get both hands to start using this finger. It's like, again, a great entryway. And yes, definitely is adjacent to, if I think about my version of chicken picking, it's going to be basically two things. It's going to be those kind of harmonized sixes. And then, well, I'm not going to be able to do it on this guitar, but like, pedal steel type bends. Where's my G on this? Do I have enough frets? No, I don't have enough frets on this guitar to do pedal steel bends. But yeah, again, an entryway into it. And, the clips I'm sharing right now, just so you know, are the introductory clips to the more complicated things. So just know that there's more. Well, actually, let's pull up one of the fancier musical things so that we know that we're not just getting the most bare bones possible thing in the world. Can we play that little Chet Atkins etude? Okay, so I don't know why I felt the need to be like, don't worry, it's not only the simplest possible thing. It's just the clips we're sharing right now are the simplest possible thing. They're kind of the start of each little section, but you can see it definitely gets a little more complicated going forward. And that little excerpt is probably the most technically challenging. Well, that's pretty challenging. That's pretty up there in terms of difficulty. And there's one other thing that's a little more challenging, like it's my take on the slap or the boogie slap or the banjo thing. That one I remember is tricky because it's a quick little motion in there. But again, what we've been talking about today is that baseline foundation. Who has a good question? Magnet 54 has a good question. Do you feature certain songs in your lessons? That would be on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, Eric Haugen Guitar. That will cover specific songs. With TrueFire, for these courses, it's more about the techniques and kind of spanning things out really far, because the way I see it, TrueFire is once you've, it's a place to go to really empty my head about a subject, to really be like, let's go from the beginning to a logical ending point, because I assume that when someone pays for a course on TrueFire, they're invested to be like, all right, I trust this guy. I'm going to see what he has to say. Let's go through the whole thing. Whereas YouTube, it's much more like, hey, I need to get your attention for about 5 minutes. Here's a thing that I can show you in 5 minutes, which oftentimes is, here's a song, here's the story behind the song, here's how you get the tones for the song, and here's how you play the song. So yeah, if you're looking for more specific things, go check out my YouTube channel. TrueFire, like I said, is the stretched out, the theory, the technique that the general public wouldn't have patience for this type of stuff on that platform. Anybody else got questions? I'm trying to think of anything else I need to cover or say. I really got nothing. So fire away.
All right. Well, we've got a couple of just a comment here. Brian says he's a Patreon of yours. So of course, once again, guys, go check out all of Eric's courses at TrueFire. But for sure, you should be subscribed to his YouTube channel, and he has a great Patreon page as well. Really dig into all things Eric, because he's just a good teacher and a good dude. So we like to support him and what he does and have everybody do that. I think this course, Eric, because there are several entry points, as you said, to these different techniques, like, for example, the hybrid picking, that alternating thumb, the Travis style. I mean, there's just different ways to look at this. What are some other sort of examples or samples, exercises, if you will, that you would give people to get them going with, like, hybrid picking? What other things can they do with that to sort of build on that, besides doing like the sixth or that kind of thing? What are some other, would you say they should just tackle some things that they would normally play with a pick, but actually figure out a way to do it hybrid picking? Or how do you approach that?
That's a good question, and there is an answer for it. And it's, do I have a piece of paper? Yeah, I probably don't need to write this down. I think the study of music is always separated two sides. There's the theory and the technique, which, okay, we're talking about hybrid picking. The other side of things, which was just alluded to in that question, was the repertoire. Okay, it's all well and good to learn a thing. And that's why all the things that we teach in the TrueFire course always have an etude at the end, where it's like, but here it is in action. So my advice would actually be ZZ Top, LaGrange, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Suzy Q. By the way, I have a video called How to Do Hybrid Picking on my YouTube channel that, for that exact reason, it's like, okay, there's hybrid picking. There's how you do it. The next logical step is to learn a couple of songs that utilize it. We can get away with playing the grain down here, right? Freaking ZZ Top, man, that pocket in that band is so deep. Freaking, yeah. Billy Gibbons he swings so hard. But yeah, you can see over here. So that would be my advice is, I think what's Suzy Q. Love CCR. I have a Creedence tattoo. But yeah, my actual advice would be learn the technique. There's that. And then, learn a couple of the riffs I love riffs so much. Increasingly, I'm maybe I'll do a TrueFire course just about riffs. I think that having a solid repertoire of simple riffs that you can play with supreme authority and swagger and attitude really makes a huge difference in feeling like a guitar player. I think it's something that maybe we might skip over because we're like, I don't need to do that. But yeah, really try and play Suzy Q. Really try and play LaGrange well. I really think, Brett shouts out Green River. Yeah, that's a freaking great one, man. Yeah. Yeah, freaking. Okay, wait, sorry, Jeff's hopping back on.
No, that's good. That's good.
We're talking about CCR like all night.
We could do CCR jams all, the rest of the night for sure. And ZZ Top. My morning workout today was to ZZ Top's first album, and Brown Sugar is like, man, that is the sweetest guitar tone. It's just absolutely insane. So, a couple other good questions here. Does your course address right-hand anchoring techniques? Like whether your pinky's on the pick guard, palm muting, floating hand. Talk a little bit about those different options.
Yes. Well, first of all, it absolutely does. I would never, since the course is mostly about the right hand, we're making sure we see the difference between, we'll just play Green River, between a pinky anchoring. Where am I? Can you see the pinky? There we go. That's one of the things about fingerstyle is, you can't see what's happening from here. It's like you can kind of see much more from here. And kind of can't see what's happening there. But yeah, I'm palm muting. So yeah, definitely depending on what it is that we're doing. Yeah, depending on what we're doing, we're going to be, of course it would be covered. Because again, the one thing I know that guitar players sometimes struggle with is control over this part here. I always feel like I have to do this, by the way. Like, nobody knows what this tattoo is. It's a sloth that says, "Live slow, die whenever, man." It's got a little joint. Because like I know in videos you can see this part that just says "die whenever." I'm like, oh, that's kind of freaking people out, probably. No, so now you know it's a chill sloth who's saying, "Live slow, die whenever."
That's good advice right there.
Right?
Good advice from the sloth.
Yeah. Who cares, man? Doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
Your buddy the surfer would approve of that.
Oh man, sure. Frank, like he is. Yeah, Frank is a very special human being for sure.
That's awesome. So, hey, we got another good question about any tips on starting chicken picking, and then how to build up speed on that. How do you build up speed? Because obviously we know chicken picking is pretty cool when it gets ripping. So, how do you start, and then how do you get moving?
All right, Joe Rizzo. Joe Rizzo? Awesome. Yeah, awesome name. My best friend's name is Joe Romeo. So yeah, I'm like, Rizzo, what's it? And yeah, I grew up in Jersey. A lot of Italian Americans in Jersey. Rizzo. And we had a buddy, Rizzo. The first thing I'll tell you, this is just a good little trick, right? So we talked about the little separating those out. Put a chromatic one in between the second two. Don't know who showed me this trick. It might have been Mike Ide, who was a guitar teacher up at Berkeley. But you do that one, like the yodel thing where you're going. Okay, so that's just on one chord. I don't know if I have enough frets. But that, I'll leave you with that. There's certain little tricks like that like you can, what started as become and then if I had frets, I'd be like I'd do a run there, but I don't have frets. Elsie don't want me to go up there.
That's awesome. Awesome. And so developing speed on that, like working up your speed, what do you suggest for trying to get some,
my
smoother,
thoughts,
faster things happening?
So,
I mean, I know the sloth is there. So the sloth is not about speed.
Yeah. My thing is always like, I don't concern myself with speed as much more I concern myself with swing and timing and like getting things exactly deep in the groove of the song. I chased speed for about 2 months when I was 19 years old, determined how fast I could play Eruption, and was like, not very fast. Darn. And once that was decided for me, once I ran that experiment, then for the rest of my life, I never chased speed. I try to play well. I try to play things at the proper tempo, but I never chase speed just because I think, but that's me. That's very much my take on things. I know that it's a guitar player thing of I want to like, but how do I play faster? I'm like, don't worry about playing faster. Play greasier, play groovier, play deeper in the pocket, and it's gonna be better. At least if I was in the band, I would think it was better. But again, I'm not everybody. That's just my personal taste. So I'm not the guy for that, unfortunately.
That's good. That's good stuff, man. So what's someone's asking, do you have any Beatles songs that you would suggest they working on hybrid picking, or just anything in general? I guess any of these fingerstyle things. Obviously, there's quite a few Beatles tunes that could be fingerstyle based.
There's a lot of great. John Lennon actually is a great finger picker, and he gets name checked in the course as well, because the picking pattern on Julia is a whole. There's actually a whole chapter about that picking pattern, because it's the second. It's what I call a pinch Travis. I didn't bother with Blackbird because it's so well known. But yeah, Blackbird is kind of cool. Paul's picking pattern on that is kind of banjo frailing, actually, because when he gets up. Yeah, Paul, actually, that's true. I should have done that, because Paul, he does that. That's that thing of there's a pluck and then a. You know what my favorite Paul finger picking one is? Oh man, do I remember it? Oh yeah, freaking Mother Nature's Son, I think, is a hidden gem. Everybody does Blackbird, which is a super cool, great song, but I actually really like. Do I remember? No. Again, the pinch, flick-a-doo-doo-doo, flick-doo-doo-doo-doo, flick-doo-doo. Paul, man, yeah, that Paul has a unique finger picking pattern too. There's not really much hybrid picking that I can think of off the top of my head with Beatles, but there is some really good finger picking by Paul and by John. Norwegian Wood. Oh, can I play Norwegian? We won't. Norwegian Wood is just a cool song. Yeah.
Great tune. So what about alternate tunings?
That seems like that's
on alternate tunings.
That seems like that's a separate course as well. But I will say this: I made a very in-depth guide to alternate tunings on my YouTube channel called A Guide to Alternate Tunings. I'll just let you go. Yeah, the algorithm did not like that video for some reason. Like I had clips of Joni Mitchell and Bert Jansch, and then I transcribed it, and I had all this stuff that I put together, going through all of them, cutting from video clips. Anyway, it got like 5,000 views. It was one of those inexplicable bombs. But it is on my channel, and it's a very good video. In fact, I think I'm wearing this hoodie in the thumbnail of it. I'm like, this is a really good video. Boy, I can't wait for this one to come out. I really covered a lot of ground. And then the algorithm sometimes is like, nah, never mind. Nobody wants this dude.
Yeah. The wonders of YouTube, the mysteries of YouTube algorithms.
I mean, 2025 has been very strange on YouTube for me. I don't know what it's been like for other people, but yeah, it's been a slog.
All right. So the course, guys, if you don't have this course, you should definitely pick it up. It's available right now. Click on the links below the video here, because that takes you right to it. We'll get you in there and get the courses. All of Eric's courses are, once again, really good. Honestly, some of our most popular courses at TrueFire are Eric's courses. And it's just because he's a really good teacher, explains things really well, gives you really good examples that you can play, not things that are like, oh my gosh, I can't figure that out. They're actually things that you can use and then develop your own thing. And I think that's what really happens. Speaking of that, here's a good question. What would you suggest to people that are trying to develop kind of their own style, their own thing, is whether it's fingerstyle, just getting their own stuff together? What's your tips for that kind of thinking?
Yeah, well, style is a funny one, right? Like, yeah, how do you develop your own sound? And watch any interview or any book or anything with any of your heroes, and really just, it's my observation is that it just happens by liking what you like, working on stuff, trying to make stuff sound good, and just paying attention to like, you know, when something cool happens. Like, I don't even know what my style is, but I guess I do have a style. But I like what I like, which is a lot of things. I can play what I can play, which is not as many things. And I guess that's what ends up being my style, that whatever that intersection is between all the stuff that I enjoy that really moves me, and then whatever limits of physical dexterity I have, whatever that overlap in that Venn diagram is, becomes your style. Because it always just seems to me like, you know, watching interviews with Johnny Marr, or, you know, I feel like he said something like, well, I like this, I like that, and I like that, and then I guess it came out this way. So I wouldn't concern yourself too much with like trying to figure out, like, to contrive a sound. Just like truly follow what moves you, and not what like you feel like you need to do to impress some version of yourself. I do think that there's a lot of that with guitar players. There's a lot of ego head trips that with they're just, we know there are. It's so stupid. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing with guitar, but there's still always that little piece of this like competitive nature about guitar playing that I just, yeah, it's not helpful.
All right, so give us your top 5 fingerstyle players, right? And maybe even break it up into, hey, here's the guys that you'd like to listen to for hybrid picking. Here's the guys you listen to for Travis picking. You know, give us a couple options.
Okay, well, I'm just off the top of the dome. Nick Drake. Nick Drake is wonderful, beautiful alternate tuning finger picker from the late 60s, early 70s. You may remember Pink Moon from the Volkswagen commercial that used that song. But, you know, making up his own tunings as he went, and then writing these beautiful songs with this haunting voice. He's the one that just immediately comes to mind as just like, wow, that's just, nothing sounds like that. And because he was a horribly depressed individual, he only made 3 records before he left this realm. So there's not a giant catalog to go through that you're like, oh, there's that one, that one, that one. Cool. Well, I know how that sounds. Chet Atkins, Picks on the Beatles, is, I mentioned that record. I name check that record all the time. It's a game changer record for me because, well, Chet Atkins is Chet Atkins, who's absolute virtuoso, you know, upper, you know, God level player of the instrument. Playing Beatles songs, and the record was recorded in like 1968 with just like great laid back Nashville sounds. So it's like not super produced sounding. It sounds just like they did it in like one day, and it's so freaking good. Yes, Frank Humphreys is mentioning Richard Thompson for hybrid picking. Okay, let's recommend my favorite Richard Thompson work is actually pretty early in his career. It's the Fairport Convention album, Liege and Leaf. That's another one of those records that you're like, well, nothing sounds like this exactly. Yeah, that it stands alone as a piece. But there's other stuff throughout, Richard Thompson's career that's really cool. What was I going to say? Those are some that come to mind. And let me just think, are there any hybrid pickers? Honestly, my favorite chicken picking player these days is Lor Jomets. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. He's an Estonian dude who plays in Sturgill Simpson's band. That dude is just an absolute alien of Southern rock, like guitar. Like, he can do the chicken picking stuff, but then he'll just pivot into like really cool rock guitar stuff. He eternally, in terms of living guitar players working, I'm like, yeah, that dude gets it. I think, I don't know, those are all I can think of off the top of my head. But again, check out my YouTube channel for my taste in music. I mention who I like all the time.
That's awesome. Awesome stuff, man. So one other question about the sort of the idea of fingerstyle, and sometimes we think of that as acoustic, but sometimes we think of it as electric. So for guys that say, hey, I want to get better at fingerstyle, do you prefer one over the other?
No, I don't. It's funny. I'm thought of as more of an electric player, and I guess I am. I mean, you know, electric guitars are over there. But it's really mainly because I find it hard to record for YouTube an acoustic guitar. But I love playing acoustic guitar, I guess. And I guess you can make more sounds with an electric, so there's that option as well. But I don't have a preference one way or the other. I guess speaking of other acoustic guitar finger pickers, I would be remiss to not mention John Fahey, another weirdo from the 60s. Actually, he stayed alive for a long time, but he is pretty important and pretty responsible for kind of helping establish neo-folk acoustic alternate tuning finger picking stuff. And he actually, I don't think we mentioned it in the course. We didn't do anything with banjo claws. You know, do I have some over here? Yeah. You know, the claws, the claw. You know, that's a whole other thing. I don't use these terribly often. Let's see, because you know what would be a cool one? Oh, all right. Now I just remembered. This is a thing. Roger McGuinn, he would use a pick and a claw. I forgot about that. Let me see if I remember how to play Rock and Roll Star. And someone was saying that you can't see the picking hand. I don't remember the lick now. That's cool. Oh yeah, and Steven's pointing out the great Jeff Beck. There's an example of someone who took fingerstyle and totally did his own thing. Totally did his own thing with it. Yeah, I mean, nobody sounds like Jeff Beck. And Jeff Beck is a great example. There's a story of Jeff Beck. It's actually a pretty cool track. Jeff Beck recorded a version of Manic Depression with Seal doing the vocals, which is pretty awesome if you go track it down. And the story goes like, Seal got to the studio, Jeff Beck got to the studio, and Beck's gear hadn't arrived there. And they're just like talking about working on the song. And there was like a Squire Affinity series and like a Gorilla practice amp in the corner. And Jeff Beck picked that up. And the story, Seal says like he heard, he's like, even on the crummiest gear, Jeff Beck sounds like Jeff Beck. So the lesson there is tone is in the hands. You know, people got, you know, that's that thing. I know that, you know, we buy lots of guitars, but really tone is in the hands.
That is absolutely true. We do buy lots of guitars. We
Right?
have here hanging all over in here that I don't even know what some of it does. It's just here.
I have 5 for sale on Craigslist right now, and no one's biting. Like no one's buying guitars right now. Like hey,
It is a strange market for guitars, indeed.
Anybody want my Squire Starcaster? It's a great $400 guitar. Anyway. It's a good guitar. I just don't need it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, man. No, I mean, I do think there is a lot of there's so much variety to play in fingerstyle, and that means so many things. I mean, there's cats like Matteo Mancuso, who's like, absolute insane player playing. We would call it fingerstyle. He's playing with his fingers, but it's not what we think of when we think about playing fingerstyle guitar necessarily. But you can play with a pick. You can not play with a pick. There's a lot of different things you could do. So one more question here. Any jazz players or pickers? Obviously jazz, there's a lot of jazz fingerstyle when you're doing chord melody stuff and that kind of thing.
Yes, you can't mention jazz without mentioning Wes Montgomery. I mean, Wes Montgomery is literally, I have one of the, the technique, up there is somewhere on there is a Wes Montgomery book. Literally any of my heroes, I watch an interview long enough, they're like Django Reinhardt, Wes Montgomery. Those names are always shared. Now, Django is again, how do you do that? But Wes actually has, you can grab some stuff from Wes Montgomery, his thing with the, doing everything with the thumb and the octaves. With a capo, I'm not going to butcher Wes Montgomery right now. But yeah, Wes is a great one. It's funny. Wes has like really great, proper jazz records, but I'm a dork. I actually liked the stuff later in his career when he was doing like California Dreamin' and Bumpin' on Sunset, the stuff that kind of the jazz community was like, you sell out. I'm like, kind of like the sellout stuff because it's real catchy. Kind of reminds me of Krungbin. Like I hear modern instrumental stuff in that. Barney Kessel has stuff like that. Yeah, there's a lot of like when the jazzers don't play straight ahead jazz is what I tend to listen to more for me personally. And then Tom Waits songs. Yes, that reminds me. I need to do. Tom Waits will be included in a YouTube video I make about singers who are better rhythm guitar players than we realize. Check out what Tom Waits does on Heart Attack and Vine. Let's see if I remember that. And that's fingers, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, it's drop D. What's the next chord? Okay, I don't remember it now, but I've taught it. I should remember it, but can't remember everything all the time. But Heart Attack and Vine's a cool one. I mean, you can't go wrong with so many Tom Waits songs. Yeah, you must know I love Tom Waits because that's one of the guys I've definitely discussed a lot, again, on my YouTube channel.
Awesome stuff, man. Well, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in and for sticking around all night on an amazing Tuesday night, Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day
to our veterans. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, thank you for all the veterans out there, current and former. Appreciate everything you've done to let us be able to sit here and talk about guitar and play guitar and enjoy music. So thank you very much for that. Eric, thank you for being here as always.
Of course.
Appreciate your courses. Your courses, as I said, always do well. They're always great treasure troves of information, and everybody loves them. So I'm sure this one will be no different. If you have not gotten it, check it out. Go to the links below the YouTube video. Click on that, buy the course, and then dig in and start working. But Eric, thank you so much, and we will do this again sometime.
That sounds good to me. All right. Thank you. Again, thank you, everybody, for being here and for buying my courses, watching my videos. I forget that it helps people, but it makes me feel good to be like, oh, okay, it does. Nice. Okay, cool.
It definitely does. It helps everyone, and we appreciate that. So thank you guys for tuning in. For TrueFire, I am Jeff Sheets. Thank you to Shane for running things, and we will see you guys on the next one.
All right. Live slow, die whenever.
Hi, I'm Eric Haugen. Fingerstyle guitar doesn't have to be complicated. In Guitar Zen Fingerstyle, we'll strip things down to the essentials and focus on the techniques that can change the way you think about the instrument. We'll cover Travis picking, develop thumb and finger independence, hybrid picking, and explore techniques borrowed from other instruments like banjo frailing. We'll also dig into some Chet Atkins style playing for even more style and nuance. Each lesson set comes with a performance etude so you can hear it in action and learn how to integrate it into your own playing. I really think that we can add so much depth to our rhythm playing by expanding into finger picking techniques. So if you're a songwriter, the second guitar player in a band, or collaborate with other musicians, this course will be extremely helpful for you. Grab your guitar, let's roll.